Oh, thank you so much, Olainke. I was like, who's that they're talking about? Is that me? You know, it's nice to hear, because I didn't say this about me. No, it's just nice to hear when people are reflecting what what they know about you. Hi, everyone. How are we doing? Are we feeling warmer than when we were outside? I'm.
Did you get the microphone a little closer?
Oh, Tolu, I need your help just in case I disorganize anything. Oh, I can speak up. Is that better? Is that better for you? She wanted the mic nearer me, so I just didn't know what to do. Is that okay?
No,
I mean, we're checking in with her just to make sure. Checking with her and see if she can hear. Okay. So those are the full names, 3 names already out of 6 names. I have a long list of an additional 3 African names. So I prefer to be called Debbie. So for this session, please feel free to call me Debbie. Everybody knows me as Debbie. That's the summary of about 6 to 7 names. It's such an honor to be here with you to attend another Africa at Noon series event that is graciously hosted by the African Studies program here at UW-Madison. I'll begin by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to Aliyah McCord for inviting me to share this conversation with all of you and for her leadership in amplifying African scholarship and voices in this space. And to all of you for showing up, thank you so much. Just give yourselves a hug. Thank you for showing up, especially in this weather, you know. So in Africa, sorry. Just want to make sure. Just a second. I'm used to a MacBook. Okay. So before we move to the next slide, I just want to say I'm so appreciative of you having showed up. And it reminds me that in Africa, an invitee or a guest is very important, is a very important person, because when they honor an invitation and show up, then the party can begin. So thank you so much for showing up today.
This is on the big screen right now, so I'm just swipe all the way over.
It's not moving. Because it should be here. Should be here. Okay. So in addition, I would like to acknowledge in a special way my family at the UW-Madison for Women and Wellbeing Initiative Leadership Circle that's led by our founding director, Laurie DePreet Brown. I'm so proud and honored to be a member of that family. And I celebrate Laurie DePreet Brown in a special way because of her vision, her mentorships, scholarship, and commitment in bringing all of us together. Her commitment to ethical, community-centered leadership. It actually continues to shape who I am. I'm still work in progress. My take on leadership, my understanding of leadership is that leadership is actually our life journey. They're just inextricably related. My journey and my leadership journey are the same. And I continue to evolve in every new space. And so before I delve into the details, in true African tradition, I honor the elders. I honor our mentors, our coaches, like Laurie Depreet Brown. And through 4W, I have learned what it means to lead with integrity. I continue to learn, we all know it, but practice always makes it perfect, especially when you have the opportunity to step into another space in this global world. And very importantly, our work at the 4W has also helped me to center well-being in more profoundly than I had ever really been able to do, and to honor dignity and humanity in all leadership work. And so I celebrate her. And of course, we continue to be guided by that amazing vision at 4W, just to make life better for women and make the world better for all. Now, today's conversation will share some insights from my life, my personal story. I really view this as a conversation where I'm going to share my personal story, my insights about the role of men and fathers in particular. And I've had the opportunity to share the thoughts in this book that has just been published. And so I contributed a book chapter in this book, and we'll share the information. I encourage you to get yourselves a copy. This was published just last month. And this is a significant new scholarly book, Reimagining Women Leadership Through Inclusive Community Engagement is the title. And this was put together by the Higher Education Resource Services East Africa, which is a nonprofit, and I'll share a little more about that. And it was edited by Dr. Naomi Lomotenga. And Dr. Margaret Kaitzer. Dr. Margaret Kaitzer is on the extreme left. And I'm somewhere not too far away from her. Do you recognize me? And Dr. Naomi there is actually in the middle. She's in the middle. And she's the second editor. And she's a HERS East Africa co-founder and the executive director. And Dr. Margaret is the chairperson of this amazing organization. And the HERS East Africa is really concerned about the well-being of women in higher education, especially in East Africa. There's a lot of evidence that shows that women still face unique challenges in the workplace. And these women, yes, they're in higher education, need to be equipped with the right tools to succeed in both their professional and personal lives. So this book delves into the mission and the accomplishments of the Higher Education Resource Services East Africa. I'll be referring to it as HERS East Africa. And this organization is really dedicated to advancing gender parity in leadership in education. And that's, I'm also graduated from one of the HERS East Africa academies. And this is just, a photo memory of us in session. Now, first of all, where did this start from? Why was I preoccupied with this whole thing about the role of men, role of boys? Yet at the same time, it starts with women. And I've dedicated my career and so many other things to supporting girls and women to lead. I'll first share a little bit about where I come from. How many of us have been to this one and only pearl of Africa? We need a special photo shoot, right? So Africa is a huge continent, as you all know. And then my country, Uganda, as you can see, is the context that shaped my leadership and my life. I just feel that in this conversation, it's important to share how come I'm talking about this, what shaped my whole, the passion, what influenced my passion. So it starts with my continent, Africa. I'm an ethnic Ugandan. Uganda was described by Winston Churchill, as you all famously must know by now. And if you didn't know, I hope you get to learn now, as the Pearl of Africa. And rightly so. It is remarkable for its natural beauty, cultural richness, diversity, and hospitality. Right? For those of us who've been to Uganda, isn't that the case? Isn't that the country? Thank you very much. It's a small country, I believe, could fit into Wisconsin, the state. I need to cross-check. Dorothy, could it be as big as?
A little smaller than Oregon, just a little smaller.
Just a little smaller, right? So it's not a big country, but you know, it has 56 recognized tribes and over 40 indigenous languages. And of course, like in many African countries, it has quite a youthful population. Uganda has vibrant cultural institutions, kingdoms, strong extended families, deep, trying to move this. Move it. Okay, I think it's gonna move. It has, you know, strong extended families and deep clan systems across the tribes and communal social values. And across this diversity, one truth stands out. Family is the first school of identity, like elsewhere. Gender, cultural belonging, and leadership. So like elsewhere, leadership in Uganda is shaped long before a child reaches school, university, or the workplace. It is shaped in homes where values are transmitted, gender norms are taught, girls learn whether they are heard or silenced, and leadership is either encouraged or discouraged. This is why my chapter begins not with women in boardrooms or in the classrooms, but with girls in families. So that was the country that shaped me, from the continent that shaped me. And then there's something else, my tribe, my first leadership classroom, the tribe, Buganda. Let me try, I'm sorry, okay. So if you look at, can you see the cursor? Is it moving? So this is the country, Uganda. And now, this is the tribe that shaped you. A country which has 46 languages, 52 tribes. So there's so many other tribes. And then there's this one big tribe that also shaped me. And that's the king of my tribe and the queen. So in addition to the family, my ethnic roots, my tribe were my first leadership family. I originate from the Buganda Kingdom, the largest traditional kingdom, a constitutional kingdom, a cultural institution in modern day Uganda, and there are many other cultural institutions, as I've mentioned. The Buganda Kingdom is organized around 52 clans. These are just a few, these are traditional dances. And we have the Kabaka, the king, the queen, there's a Katikiro, a prime minister, royal advisors, clan leaders, paternal aunts are so important in this culture, the maternal uncles. So in Buganda, leadership is relational. So in addition to the family, we have the tribes. We have also the faith-based institutions. They actually also shape our leadership, but I'm just focusing on a few. I don't have time to focus on everything. And so in Buganda, you know, leadership is relational, moral, service-oriented, community-driven, and rooted in family and clan obligations. That's why I'm sharing these pictures, because they do influence how we lead and how we show up, especially as men and women. They influence the way we're socialized much more deeply than any other space. So before I entered any formal leadership space, Buganda or the Chiganda culture had already taught me the importance of humility, accountability, compassion, collective responsibility, and respect, like all of us here, okay? By the time we enter into these formal spaces, we've already been taught a lot. These cultural foundations shaped everything I later did in Uganda, Africa, and now what I do. And in writing this chapter, this is the background that influenced what I talked about. Now, Uganda has made major strides. When I think of Ugandan women leadership, like everywhere in the world, there's lots of progress that has been made. There's strong representation of women in parliament. We have women vice chancellors, judges, ministers, professors, increased girls' education. You know, we have more girls, more educated girls than ever before in Uganda. We have women leading community initiatives and social movements. It's great to see that there's so many people rising up, so many women rising up and taking on what we call positional leadership. But progress also coexists with patriarchal norms. That's the reality. So we're celebrating a lot, but there is, there is, I think I need your help. Sorry about this. Not yet. Sorry about that. That's tech.
So is it okay now?
It seems to be.
Yeah.
Okay. So as we've said, as I was saying, progress coexists with patriarchal norms, gender-based violence, limited mobility of girls, unequal domestic labor, cultural expectations that silence women. And this tension progresses alongside patriarchy. It forms the backdrop of my chapter and the stories of the women I interviewed. I thought it was very important to emphasize or to share this background to make sense of what I learned or what was really confirmed. Now, before writing the chapter, I embraced a powerful African philosophical symbol. Does anybody recognize that? Yes. What is that? Oh, wow.
It's right there.
Okay, so what is this? Please come up.
No.
No? Please.
Because
there
of
are people.
Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
the Khan symbol.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything else?
I think you describe it best. Why I look back to move forward.
A round of applause. You got that one right, okay? So yes, I'm from Uganda, but something that really fascinates me is a very powerful African philosophical symbol, and this is the Sankofa bird, okay? It's from the Akan people of Ghana. It's a kind of mythical symbol in Ghana. Now, the Sankofa bird, as you can see, right here. Sorry, the cursor isn't moving well, so I had to point that way. Is illustrated with its feet facing forward, right? And then its head is facing backward. So its head is turned backward, holding an egg, symbolizing the future with the feet, but retrieved from its back. I just love it. It teaches us to return and fetch it, go back and reclaim what you need for your future. So although Sankofa is Ghanaian, you know, it's Ghanaian, its wisdom resonates throughout Africa, including Uganda. Our culture believes that ancestry guides us, grounds us, memory is wisdom, stories are teachers, and the past holds keys to the future. To understand why I wrote this chapter, I had to practice Sankofa. I had to return to the lineage, both women and men who shaped my leadership. Why I look back to move forward. Sankofa took me first to the women who shaped me in my family. My mother, extreme right. My mother, I'm there with her, my late mother, whose discipline, faith, and integrity formed the backbone of my character. And I celebrate her and I honor her. My aunties, I already mentioned that the role of a paternal aunt called a Senga. That's my Senga. The Sengas, the paternal aunts, are the custodians of cultural knowledge and womanhood. And in the strictest sense, they're actually the ones who raise the girl child. My sisters, my cousins, my mom and us, a few sisters-in-law there, who modeled responsibility and resilience. So we have that multi-generational influence. My grandmothers, this is my maternal grandmother. This is my paternal grandmother. And her younger sister, who was my godmother. When I was reflecting, I come from a huge family, and I even struggled to reduce the slides to, you know, the pictures here to just a few of them. My teachers, like all of you, the role of the teachers. I don't have any photos for the teachers. The church community, the women's groups in the church communities. My nieces, and as I've grown older, my nieces and daughters continue to shape my leadership. These women built my foundation. They shaped my worldview, my values, my emotional strength, and my voice. So I honor them first. Then there's something else. In my experience, as we've been working on this whole journey, girls and women's empowerment, I actually also realized that there is under-recognition, or in many places, total non-recognition of the influence of fathers on girls. So Sankofa, that bird, also required me to look at the men in my formation, a dimension often overlooked in gender and leadership discourse. African societies frequently assume mothers shape the daughters, right? And then the father shapes the sons. And we all know how we're socialized and the gendered roles and all that. But this assumption is incomplete because in my case, my leadership was profoundly shaped by my maternal grandfather, my father, my uncles, the male teachers. So when I think of the men who shaped me, my maternal grandfather here shaped my leadership. For by the time I was born, my paternal grandfather had passed on. So my maternal grandfather, Merikizadde Chikasule, who lived in a colonial Uganda at a time when girls' education was not valued, dared to educate my mother and take her to school. For some people here, that could be like, oh, it's a given. No. When my mother was born in the colonial times, pre-independence, even now, there's still communities and societies that do not invest in educating the girl child. My maternal grandfather dared to believe and love his little daughter, my mother, and educated her and sent my mother to the best schools of the day. He rode a bicycle barefoot. Those days they didn't wear shoes. Barefooted, but he had a bicycle. And he would ride a bicycle to take his daughter to the best schools. And sometimes he rode a distance like from here to Chicago on a bicycle. For us, that is incredible. He affirmed her dreams and worth, and treated her with dignity from when she was a little girl. And among the Baganda, a granddaughter is affectionately called Muchala Wange, my wife. And I remember his face lit up when he saw me. He made me feel valued. He did not only make my mom feel valued, but he made me feel valued, special and capable. To me, he possessed a feminist consciousness long before the word feminism, women's empowerment was widely used. His courage transformed my mother's destiny. Her education transformed mine. And through my work, his legacy continues across generations. Then Dad. That's my dad. And yes, these are my brothers and husband. And my father, the mirror who reflected my worth. My father shaped the inner architecture of my identity. He affirmed me consistently, noticing my effort, my dignity, my presence, my confidence, right from when I was a little girl, but even as an adult. I remember when I entered a room, he would pause, look at me intentionally as an adult and say, "Oh, my daughter, you really look good today." And sometimes I'm like, okay, how come my husband didn't say I look good today? It was very powerful, even when I grew up, by the way. And my husband didn't say, "Oh, honey, you look good." I'm like, I don't mind. My dad says I look good. You know, it's just incredible when I was reflecting on all these. My father, he didn't do it as flattery. It wasn't flattery. It was genuine. He gave me space to speak, to question, to be heard. He represented gentleness where my mother represented discipline, by the way. My mother was fierce. I remember at some stage when I was young, I asked my dad, "Is she really my mother? Are you sure?" I really convinced myself. I think I was about 11, and I'm like, I think this is do you remember the Cinderella story of stepmothers? I told Daddy, I said, "Dad, is she really my mother? It's impossible, you know, because she was a no-nonsense African woman. And I was the eldest of all these boys, can imagine. So she had to put me into shape and all that kind of thing. So my father really was very, very important for me. Started again. It's not moving. Oh. I wanted to say something else, but anyway. Now, fast forward. I started thinking also, reflecting on male love and male harm. The contradiction that actually sparked my inquiry. For many years, I assumed all men were like my father and grandfather. Life taught me otherwise. But all the men in this room are like my dad and my grandfather. I encountered men who diminished women, upheld harmful norms, misused authority, silenced girls, enacted emotional or psychological harm. And this contrast, the best of men and the worst of men, sparked what I call, gosh, I wanted to move on. I don't know what's happening.
It's so
Can you see it? Is it moving? Is it actually doing something?
Yeah.
Is it?
so the arrow would come here and then you have to go back in here.
It should just be, So anyway, the contrast of the best of men and the worst of men sparked a central question to me. How do girls become leaders when the men in their lives can either build them or break them? And so this is the intellectual and emotional starting point of my chapter and why I wrote that chapter. Before sharing what my conversations revealed in the chapter, I want to honor the organization HERS East Africa, the institutional home behind this book. As I've already told you, HERS is a regional nonprofit in East Africa. It strengthens women's leadership in higher ed. And this is done through leadership academies, and it's led by women who lead with courage and purpose. So that experience with HERS East Africa as an alum amplified my voice, expanded my leadership, deepened my feminist consciousness, nurtured my scholarly identity, grounded my understanding, and HERS invited me to contribute to this chapter because of my longstanding work through another organization that I founded in Uganda called the Icon Enterprise Foundation. And this is informed by a 4-dimensional leadership model that we designed and that frames the academies that we host. And we look at life through the lens of self-leadership, family leadership, school workplace leadership, and community service. And so this model is grounded in African family systems. And this, to me, is a belief that leadership begins at home. And so HERS recognized this critical gap and invited me to contribute a chapter on this very important matter. So what did the conversations reveal? What I write here is a summary of the conversations I had with 14 women. So this is based on life histories of 14 Ugandan women. Most of them are very successful leaders. We had a mix of successful business women leaders, successful political leaders, successful university student leaders, but we also had a mix of community leaders, grassroots women's leaders. And they were aged between 32 and 75 years, 22 years and 75. And these life story interviews revealed powerful truths about women's leadership development. So 1, family is the first leadership school. Long before women entered public leadership spaces, their earliest ideas of voice, worth, courage, and possibility were shaped in the home. And I've also shared my story. Leadership begins in childhood, not adulthood. Then the family structures shape leadership identity, as I've also pointed out. These women grew up in different types of families. There were the nuclear families like mom, dad, and children. Polygamous households shaped their leadership. Single mother homes shaped their leadership. Extended kinship networks, where we have fostering arrangements, shaped their leadership. And each structure created different leadership strengths or struggles. Now, the early childhood lessons come from everyday experience, and this was evident in all the conversations. Women learned empathy, negotiation, conflict resolution, and resilience through simple things like the chores, the caregiving, managing crises, even navigating difficult adults, surviving injustice. All that shaped their leadership. These experiences built leadership long before formal roles. Like me, gendered socialization shapes identity. Women described unequal domestic labor, limited mobility, expectations to behave well, city girl versus village girl stereotype, pressure to be silent and compliant. That's very common for us as girls. But many also challenged these norms and developed leadership identities through resistance and self-assertion. Now, positive male supporters matter deeply. Fathers, grandfathers, uncles, brothers, male teachers, and mentors shaped confidence and resilience. It came out clearly. Even in cases where women had been raised by a single mother, the role of the maternal uncle was very important in the lives of these. A positive maternal uncle was very important in the lives of these women. Women described men who encouraged their education. Education is a big thing. We don't take it for granted. Who believed in their potential, treated them as equals, modeled integrity, offered emotional safety, and protected their dreams and also opened doors. So positive male involvement emerged as a very, very transformational force for all the women. Even where the actual fathers were absent, the other positive male role models in their lives played a significant role in shaping their leadership. In conclusion, women's empowerment requires engaging men and boys more intentionally. And this is an area that we haven't been that intentional about as we grow women and girls, as we raise women and girls, whether formally as leaders or at home. And this chapter concludes, fatherhood is a leadership function. Male allies shape girls' leadership trajectories. Gender justice requires men and boys. Family-centered leadership matters. Women's empowerment must include deconstructing harmful masculinity. And so that is where my scholarship, leadership, and advocacy converge. I thank you.